Hey guys, what's up? This is Kazabaz, and I am super excited to be back in the groove, back uploading videos to YouTube, because it has been quite some time since I've done that. This is something new to my channel that I'm uploading. This is a League of Legends gameplay. This is actually pre-recorded, it's not live. I'm just commentating over it right now. But League of Legends, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, who don't play it, is a MOBA game. It's a massive online battle arena. Currently, I'm sitting in the load screen. At least that's what I was doing at this point in time, because this isn't live. Keep that in mind. I'm just looking at a replay that I made. So it's a MOBA, massive online battle arena. What League of Legends is a 5 versus 5 game. As you can see, my team is on the top half of the screen here. Oh, wait, now we spawned. Okay, so it's a 5v5 game that takes place on these two different sides of the map. If you look at the bottom right corner of your screen, we have the mini-map, and with all my different little character icons of my teammates. And this is our side of the map, divided, and that's the enemy side. It's divided by the river here that runs between the two sides. The goal of the game is to protect our nexus, which is this object right here in the center of your screen. And meanwhile, we're also trying to explode the enemy nexus, which is located right there. And in between us and and the nexus, which, you know, what the reason we can't go do it right now, are these things, which are towers. They have some and we have some too. If you head towards an enemy tower, it will start shooting at you. So if an enemy walks into my turret range here, he will immediately begin to get shot at by my tower, which will kill him quite quickly, considering he will also be a level 1 like me. There are 3 different lanes, and in a couple seconds minions are going to come out of our nexus. Minions are small team-based enemies that are very low damage and very easy to kill. And essentially all they're good for is I can kill the enemy's minions, he can kill mine, and we both earn experience and gold. I earn experience and gold from killing the enemy minions. And basically they will just, as you can see here, rush straight out of the nexus and head to these 3 different lanes. Top lane, which is this one, mid lane, which is this one, and bottom lane, which is this one over here. This game I will be occupying mid lane, so I'm going to go ahead and lock onto my character. Right about here. I'll just zoom out as far as I can for her. Right now what I'm currently doing is more of an advanced tactic, but I'm giving my friend what's called a leash because he'll be jungling, and I'll kind of explain that if I have time later. But for now, you'll expect to see 2 people in the bottom lane for most of the game, 1-on-1 mid lane, 2v2 bot lane, and either a 1v2 or a 1v1 top lane. And so as you can see here, what I'm currently trying to do is kill the enemy minions so that this bar down here, which is my experience bar, I want that to go up so that I can level up and unlock more abilities. Because these are my abilities. Currently I'm level 1, and I currently only have my Q unlocked, which is called Disintegrate. There are tons of different champions in League of Legends. I think currently we're close to having 90. Riot releases new champions quite often. And, that was a small mistake. Flag currently getting attacked, but I came out alive there. He's only level 2. It's going to be hard to kill an enemy at level 2. But, so, and I have health and mana. Okay, so I'm not really going to go into that too much because every champion's a little bit different. But, Annie, I'm not really going to explain much. I'm going to try to avoid talking about my champion or any champion in general. This is Annie. That's, the enemy of my lane is Maokai, is his name. I'm going to try to avoid specifically talking about them because that could be put off to a later date. This is just the beginner tutorial. I'm going to try to keep that in mind when I'm commentating this, just talking to people who don't know anything about League of Legends. So that's first blood there. My friendly teammate up here, Shen, just killed an enemy, which is quite awesome. So my team now has a slight advantage. Well, he does at least. So like I said, the point of the game is to destroy the enemy nexus, but in order to do so, I first have to take down all the towers in at least one lane in order to get to the nexus. So as you can see here, Maokai came at me and attacked him, and I used one of my abilities to stun him while he was in turret range, and my turret did a lot of damage to him, and I think he ends up escaping here. It's very depressing to me because I almost died, and then he almost died, and I think now we're both going to walk away alive after that exchange. But League of Legends is quite an action-packed game. I mean, it has its slow moments, which includes, like right now that my enemy champion is left lane, I'm currently left to deal with nothing but creeps. However, this is an important time, because as you can see, as the creeps die, I earn experience, which is significant to me leveling up and becoming more powerful. But there's more to the game than just earning experience, because what I'm trying to do is land what's called the killing blow or the last hit to the minion, because if I hurt the minion but I don't kill it, and when it dies I gain experience. However, if I do the damage that ends up killing the minion, I land the killing blow on the minion, I also gain, as you can see there, bonus gold. So, and every time I earn gold, my little gold stash is down here, I can contribute that gold towards items that I can buy, which also make my character stronger. And so a lot of people feel like the game is almost like a team deathmatch type game type, because killing enemy champions and staying alive is so important to winning. It's very difficult to win the game after you've died a lot. So I will say that. But after you've given if you give the enemy a lot of kills and you don't get a lot of kills yourself, it's going to be very difficult to destroy their nexus. But it's a little bit, I haven't really planned out what I was going to say in this video. I'm just trying to think of what's important. So, items-wise, each champion has different stats and different abilities that you need to build them differently in order to succeed with that champion. Annie is what you call an ability power champion. She, as you can see here, I have 37 ability power already, and I'll explain how possibly later, maybe not this video. I got extremely lucky right there. With one more basic auto attack, he probably could have killed me. However, he didn't want to come near my turret, so he backed off before he could, so I got very lucky. So what I just did was I pressed the recall button and I went back to base. And whenever you're standing in the fountain where you initially spawn at, you will regain your health. And you can also shop for items here, so I can open up the menu. But as you can see, my item build is right down here in the bottom of my HUD, my heads-up display. At the very beginning of the game, I bought Boots of Speed, which increased my movement speed. Without boots, it's quite difficult to outrun champions and run away from them and escape and things like that. So I highly recommend you purchase boots on your champion always. And then depending on the champion, you want to build something different, you know, each time you play the game, just because of the different champions. For Annie, like I said, you want to build ability power because Annie's a spell-casting mage. Most of her damage output comes from using her abilities down here, and every champion has different set of abilities, which is part of what makes the game so confusing, especially to beginners of the game. And every time I level up, I can unlock a new ability. I'm pretty sure I already said that. This here is my passive. Each champion has one passive as well as 4 abilities. And then here are my summoner spells, 2 summoner spells. You can pick different summoner spells every game. I chose Ignite, which basically I click on the enemy champion and it does damage over time, 170 damage over 5 seconds, which is basically just a nice way to increase my damage output. And then Flash is an ability which you probably saw me use earlier and you may have wondered what I was doing. It basically just makes my character change location from where she currently is to somewhere a certain amount of units away. I don't really know exactly how to describe Flash, but you can probably go back. Next time I use it, I'll mention that I just flashed, but those are summoner spells. I'm trying to avoid talking about what I'm building exactly because that sort of goes into more advanced. I'm trying to keep this tutorial very basic. But like I said, last hitting minions is very important, using your abilities or your auto attacks, which every champion obviously has auto attacks, whether they're ranged or melee champion varies. But Annie does not do very much damage from her auto attacks. My basic attacks currently do 64 damage apiece, whereas, let's see, someone on my team like an Ashe, her basic attacks do 83 damage now. The enemy Graves does 92. Those are both champions that do primarily auto attack damage. In other words, they don't even need abilities in theory to do a lot of damage. However, their abilities do help them, as that's true for every champion. However, usually mid lane champions are not AD, as we call them, which means attack damage. Usually mid champions are AP, which means ability power. So items I'm currently building are going to contribute to giving me more AP, which is probably the same for my friend Maokai here, as he has 24 AP. So his current item gives him mana, which is nice, so he can cast more abilities, and mine gives me health regen, or mana regen, ability power, and health. So right there, as you can see, I ignited him. However, he used his summoner spell, which is the heal summoner spell, and it basically just returned health to him so that I could not kill him, which is quite disappointing. So if I hold tab, I can look at this menu that shows every champion in the game. It shows their summoner spells and their kills, deaths, and assists. So currently, we're not doing too great. My jungler, My friend Justin, who's playing Fiddlesticks, has died once. Ashe has died once. My top laner, Shin, he's doing quite well. He's got 2 kills and he's only died once. And then I'm just kind of, me and Maokai, we're not really doing anything. We're just kind of, we're not really killing each other. We're just not quite strong enough to kill each other yet, the way it's going. But what I just did here was kind of significant. I said in the chat, mid-Mia, you can press enter and then type whatever you want. But since this is a replay, it won't actually show up. And I can talk to my friendlies via the chat bar, or I can, use Skype to talk to them also. But I said mid-Mia, which means the enemy mid, which is Maokai, is MIA, which is missing in action. That's significant because when I said that, he wasn't in lane, and he could potentially be leaving his lane because there's nothing that requires him to stay here. He could potentially be leaving lane, going somewhere else, and doing something called ganking, which is a very significant part of the game. I just flashed right there. That was a flash. I caught it. Okay. But ganking is where I could potentially right now leave my mid lane. Now would not be a good time to do so because I'd miss a lot of experience and last hits. But I could leave and I could show up maybe in a different lane. So actually right now my friend Seeger J-Man here is ganking mid lane for me. He just showed up and he is currently helping me attack the map. And we just simply don't have enough damage to kill him. Although we are going to go for it. Oh, I think we do have. And I think we're going to get a double kill here. Yes. Okay, so that was a 2-for-1 exchange. The enemy Evelyn showed up to gank as well as my friend Justin. And so we killed the Evelyn and Maokai, and they killed my friend Justin. So that's a 2-for-1 exchange, which is a good thing for us. We came out on top. Every time you kill an enemy champion, you receive experience just like you would if it was a creep or a minion, which are what these little guys are called. And you also receive experience and gold. And once again, gold is extremely significant to winning the game because it helps you contribute to your item build. I currently have 1,800 gold, so I'm imagining when I back, I'll probably buy a needlessly large rod, which is a item that costs 1,600 and gives you lots of AP. It's a good item for ability power champions. I will probably back soon here. Now I'm 1 kill, 0 deaths, and 1 assist. I'm trying to think about what else there is to talk about right now because I don't know. This is my first time talking about League of Legends or trying to explain it to anyone who doesn't know. It's a very difficult game to grasp, especially if you're not familiar with this type of game involving the lanes and enemy champions and whatnot. A recommendation I can definitely give you. He almost killed me there. Does a lot of damage with that little sapling toss. One recommendation I can definitely give you is to, make your new account and you'll be level 1. And if you do decide to go into matchmaking at level 1, you will be paired up against other people who are also level 1, which is a bonus. However, I would recommend that you play bot games when you first start playing because it pairs you up against computer AI that aren't very good. They're not amazing, and it helps you learn the game a lot quicker. However, you'll already have an advantage on a lot of people who've never played just after watching this video, because you see how a day in the normal life of a League of Legends player. This game is not very a super high level of competitiveness. It's just a regular game. It's not ranked. In other words, after this game, there's nothing that's gonna increase on my account to say, look, I'm better because I win a lot. However, there potentially could be if I were playing ranked. But overall, right now, I have 1 kill, 0 deaths, 1 assist. I'm doing quite well. The rest of my team isn't doing terrible. They're actually doing pretty good. We have 5 kills. The enemy team has 4, so we're outdoing them. However, kills are important. However, they're not everything, and it is significant to look at who has killed whose turrets, because the more turrets down, the closer we are to killing the enemy nexus. And currently not a single turret in the game has been destroyed. My turret still has pretty good health, as does, well, actually Maokai's turret's close to being dead. But Shen's turret is still doing well, and the bot lane, their turret is also doing pretty well. So here I'm currently running around in the mid lane. I actually left the mid lane a little bit there, and I was into the river. I was planning on going to gank bot, but actually the enemy in my lane, Maokai, had the same idea, and so we ran into each other in the river, and then we just both walked back. Right here is about to be an encounter because Maokai was heading into this bush, and I can explain something about bushes in a second. But, I think we're about to kill him. Oh, Evelyn just showed up. That's gonna be a 2v2. And we just picked up 2 kills, thanks to some solid gameplay by both me and my jungler. My jungler and I, sorry. And what I currently have here following me is Tibbers. This is one of Annie's abilities. It is obviously specific to her. No other champion in the game has an ability like that. But that's my ultimate, which is called Summon Tibbers. And when I first summon Tibbers to the battlefield, he deals a significant amount of damage. And then afterwards, he continues to attack people and do damage. But as you can see here, these are my abilities. Now is probably a good time to talk about this. My Q, which says Annie flings a mana-infused fireball, dealing 205, and then in parentheses, plus 118 damage. And it says that plus 118 because of how much ability power I have. So in other words, if I were to not build ability power on Annie, maybe if I were to build health items or attack damage items, I would not be utilizing the fullest potential of her because of how much damage her Q does, as well as her W, which does plus 158 because of AP, and then her ultimate, which deals plus 148 because of AP. So by building ability power on Annie, I'm maximizing her damage output. That's just because of the kind of champion she is. And just to give you an example, I know that Shin has one ability that says based on however much health he has, I can't look at his ability because I'm not playing him, based on his amount of health, he'll actually do more damage. So on Shin, it's a good idea to build health items, actually. So, currently, I guess I'll explain what my one friend Justin has been doing all game. He's been playing Fiddlesticks. This is him right here. And he's been jungling, is what it's called, where, as you can see, the little skull and crossbones all over the minimap are basically... they're minions, however, they're not team-based, they're neutral minions, and anyone from either side can attack those minions. This game is not going well for the next game.
Shut down.
Ooh, wow. So, that was not good. We just had to do that. Oh, I think my friend Timo is going to get a kill off this guy, hopefully, if he keeps chasing him. But as you can see, occasionally he loses visibility for several different reasons. First of all, anywhere that we don't have minions or a turret, it's automatically a dark area on the map, as you can see in all of these spaces in the minimap. Excuse me. Oh wow, he's gonna get a double kill. Well done, Timo. Timo has a very interesting ability set that makes a lot of people very annoyed about him. He's more annoying than damagey, but he's very interesting. But I can explain different champions later.
Your turret has been destroyed.
As you can see, here is one of the buffs, one of the creeps, one of the camps is what they're called. They're called camps in the jungle. And this whole section here is called the jungle. And we can only see parts of it that are lit up by a friendly champion, by friendly minions, which don't leave the lane, or by a turret, which obviously is completely stationary, or by something called a ward, which is an item you can place that lasts 3 minutes and gives you vision of wherever you place it. So those can be quite helpful in seeing enemies. If you place a ward here and they walk past it, you'll be able to know that they're in your jungle. However, what the benefit to jungling is when he is in the jungle, he's obviously getting opportunities to kill lots of the creeps or minions that are monsters that are in the jungle. So he gets experience and gold from killing them. However, the real advantage is that when you are standing by yourself killing enemy monsters or neutral monsters, whatever it is, you gain more experience than if you are standing next to a friendly. Because if I kill a creep and I'm standing right next to my buddy, we have to split the experience that's earned from killing that creep. Even though I killed it, we still have to split the XP.
An enemy has been slain.
Right here looks like I'm probably about to get a kill if I'm any good. Oh, he just flashed, so he may escape me. I think he's going to escape. Yes, he did. That is unfortunate. However, I may be able to get revenge on him. Oh, yes, he's certainly dead. I can kite this one around well enough. Oh, yeah. Double kill for me, and I'm now getting quite fed is the term to describe me right now, because I've gotten 4 kills, whereas several other people in the game don't have as many kills as I do. I also have 100. I've killed 100 minions, which is my creep score. So minions killed, my creep score. I have 100 creep score. Wow, that ability did a lot of damage, but I barely survived. So because of my creep score, I've made a lot of money from that, and because of my 4 kills, I've made a lot of money from that. I'm considered quite fed. I have lots money to spend on items, which basically makes me do even more damage. And so the better you do early game, the more kills you get, the more items you can build, the more damage you do. The more kills you get, the more items you build, the more damage you do, and it just keeps stacking on itself. And that's called snowballing, which is basically the idea that once you start doing well early game, you can kind of snowball into this spiral of getting more and more damage output while everyone else in the game is just continuing to die by you. So that's a very good thing to do well early game. It's quite significant to your performance. However, that's not to say that it's impossible to bring back a bad performance. So, well, let's see what else I can explain. Here, you might notice over here on my mini-map there's a bigger, larger, and red cross. That's because standing right here is Baron. If it wasn't for the fact that we don't have any vision on this area, you'd see Baron right now, and he's quite a big, huge, scary worm-looking dude, and it is very difficult to kill Baron by yourself. It takes multiple people. And when you do kill Baron, you're able to... Your entire team receives 150 gold, I think it is, for killing him, as well as a buff, which is basically a thing that that gives you stat increases. And we call them buffs because they make your character stronger. And by killing Baron, you receive a buff that gives you additional ability power, additional attack damage, additional mana regeneration, additional health regeneration, and there's several more things I just don't know. The other buffs in the game are blue buff, which is located right here in our jungle. I'll ping it for you. Actually, I can't ping because I'm in the League replay. One's right here, and the enemy's blue buff is right there. Blue buff gives you additional mana regeneration as well as cooldown reduction. And then red buff is located here in the enemy jungle and right here in our jungle. Red buff gives you a on-hit effect, which means when you attack an enemy with a basic attack, it applies this effect that slows the enemy very slightly. It slows them down, slows their movement speed so they can't run as fast, and it also does a slight damage over time. So red buff is more helpful on champions that use auto attacks, or AD champions, and blue buff is more helpful on champions that use their mages that use their spells, like me. So it would be a good idea to give me blue buff. It would be a good idea to give our Ashe red buff because she can apply it much better since she builds attack speed and attack damage. One of the most complex things in League of Legends that a lot of people have a lot of trouble with is your build. What items should I build on what champions? And one thing they've done nice is implemented a recommended items build, which used to be quite bad, just to be frank, that they used to not be very good, but now they've gotten a lot better. So when you click on the buy menu, there's items that they recommend you build. What we just did was we just killed Dragon. You can see his corpse laying there as he now vanished. And Dragon is very similar to Baron, however, it does not give you the buff. So instead, all it does is it gives every person on our team 150 gold, which may not seem like much. However, it helps us build more items, and it gets us that much farther ahead of the enemies because they cannot kill Dragon now until it respawns in a certain amount of time. Getting a lot of new players and a lot of low-level players significantly underestimate Dragon because all it does is give them, as a person, 150 gold. However, on a team, if you add up the amount of gold that gives your entire team, it's significant and it's worth doing when your teammates have the time. However, as you can see there, we were all gathered up in mid lane. However, we didn't want to push too far because we didn't know where most of their team was. We didn't know what they were doing, so we used our time wisely to kill Dragon. We could also potentially have killed Baron there. However, Baron takes a lot longer to kill than Dragon, and if we mess up and somehow the enemies steal it from us while we're taking it, they will end up much stronger than us. Killing Baron, you cannot underestimate the significance that Baron has on this play. And I don't recall if we do or do not get Baron at a later point in this game. Actually, right now I've just acquired blue buff, which is quite nice at the point I was making a minute ago. Maokai came and tried to steal it. I currently have blue buff circling me, and that is right here. It says this unit has greatly increased mana and energy generation and 20% cooldown reduction on their abilities. Also, if someone were to kill me right now, they would receive blue buff and I would lose it because I die. So that's another cool fact. So as you saw there, I just killed wraiths, which gives me a bunch of golden experience, so that's always a good idea. Especially later on in the game, you get more strong, and the things in the jungle are a lot easier to kill when you're higher level. However, the gold that they give you is still significant, even though you can kill them very fast, so that's
Your
very good.
turret has been destroyed.
What else is there to say? I don't know. I mean, right now I'm trying to show you right here this engagement that just occurred where Graves killed Fiddlesticks. However, it's kind of hard to explain what happens without getting into too much depth about the individual champions, and that's something I'm trying to avoid. As well as I also could talk about the items I'm building here. However, that also gets into more advanced tactics and topics, and I'm just trying to be very basic here. So as far as killing towers is going, this tower's dead. So bot lane, we have lost one tower. So however, we have our second. They've also lost one tower, but they have their second. Mid lane, both of us have lost one tower only, and top lane we've lost one. However, they still have one. Now, the big significance to towers is that I cannot currently walk to their base and kill the Nexus because they still have things called inhibitors. I bet you guys, if you have a lot of awareness, you've probably noticed those little red dots behind that are only behind these 3 towers. These are called inhibitors, and what they do is they prevent super minions from spawning. So when my team kills this turret, and then we kill this one, we'll have access to be able to kill this this inhibitor. And when this inhibitor is down, our team spawns super minions. So at the end of every wave, there will be one minion that's... These here are called siege minions, these two. They're bigger than all the other minions and do more damage. However, once the inhibitor dies, a siege minion will turn into a super minion, and it will be significantly bigger, and it'll have way more health and do way more damage. And when you have a super minion on your team, it's a lot easier to push the lane towards the enemy's nexus to start doing more damage to the turrets and the nexus itself. A lot of times what happens is after roughly around 20 minutes, the laning phase ends, which basically a lot of champions decide that they've gotten a lot of benefit now from staying in the lane by themselves. However, they're ready, as a team, we're ready to start trying to push to win, which means we're ready to start trying to push down more towers. So a lot of times you'll see huge groups of people, 4 or 5 of us, will group up together, and a lot of the time the enemy will respond by doing the same, and that's when we have huge team fights. So here I'm in the 26th minute. I'm still 4-1-3, so I'm doing quite good. This game only 1 death. May not seem like I'm doing that amazing compared to some other people. However, I know that later on in this game, I do significantly better. I did not recall that this replay was quite so long, or I would not have chosen it for a beginner game. However, I will say this. League of Legends is a game sort of like Halo. I mean, it's not at all. The comparison I'm trying to make is that leaving the games is a very bad idea, and the games last quite a long time. And so right now, if I were to quit, my team would be significantly disadvantaged because the game would turn from a 5 people versus 5 people, 4 people versus 5 people, and that would be bad for my team. That would give them 20% disadvantage on the enemies. So it's bad to do that. Never disadvantage your teammates by quitting. So in order to assure that you're not going to quit, make sure before you start the game that you have a large chunk of time allotted to play, because the games can last quite some time. I mean, 20 minutes is often considered a minimum because it's rare that you'll kill the enemy's nexus before 20 minutes, and if your team is doing extremely well, for example, let's say you have 15 kills and the enemy team doesn't have a single kill yet, they are allowed to surrender instead of wait until we kill the Nexus. However, if 4 out of 5 of them agree to surrender, however, they cannot offer that vote until 20 minutes. So even if your team is doing extremely well, the game won't end until most likely at least 20 minutes. So that's one significant point to make.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
And you can, Riot Games will definitely punish you if you consistently quit games. And by consistently, I mean do it like more than once in a week's period of time. They will probably ban you for a day or 2 or something. They're very, very particular about not quitting games. However, pretty much anything else you do, they're not. They're very lenient about. Wow, I'm sorry to upload a 28-minute video. Well, this one's not even over yet, although it is getting close. Sorry to upload that as my very first League of Legends video. That doesn't leave a great impression on the game. Now that I think about it, this game is actually quite boring to look at, especially considering you're just watching me do my my thing with this game. But I will in the future upload probably more exciting games. This one, I literally upload it just because it's the only good footage I have saved onto my account where I'm playing Annie. And I wanted to play Annie just because if I did want to explain her ability set, it's quite easy to explain her abilities if I were, which I actually haven't gone into yet, just because of how basic the champion she is. In fact, Riot Games has actually considered her a recommended champion because of her low level of difficulty to master. What to say. So as you can see here, my team is currently grouped up a large wave of minions. We're prepared to push to win quite soon here because the enemies currently have two people dead and we have 3 people here. And I think we're probably on their way.
Has been destroyed.
Currently trying to destroy this tower. As you can see, we're having a small fight on this tower. However, the turret is doing a lot of damage to us, so it's probably best that we back away from the enemies before the turret kills us. Early game levels 1 through 5. Okay, I take that back. Early game levels 1 through like 10 or 12. I do not recommend that you even go underneath the enemy's tower unless you have minions to protect you. Wow, this is something I feel embarrassing that I haven't explained yet, but I'll try to explain this process soon. If you walk under an enemy, if your minions push to underneath the enemy tower will start to shoot your minions. However, and if you walk under the tower along with your minions, the tower will not start shooting you until all the minions on your team are dead. Unless you attack an enemy champion. As soon as you do damage to an enemy champion, the tower will switch focus from attacking your minions to attacking you, because you pose a threat to the tower's presence. So, tower diving is basically the art or the idea of, even though an enemy is underneath their tower, in theory protected by their tower, tower diving is when you run under their tower into the turret's range of attack, and you attack the enemy champion trying to kill them, even though the turret will attack you back in return. Levels 1 through 10, that is an extremely difficult thing to do, and in fact, I don't recommend going anywhere near a tower unless you have minions with you, because they're just so high damage output early game. However, later game, you'll obtain more health through items and through leveling up. And if you're a tanky champion, sort of like our team has Shen, who is building health items to give him basically, he's our tank. The idea of him is that he absorbs a lot of damage. He builds armor and magic res, which reduces the amount of damage he do to him. He also builds health, so it's really hard to kill him. As you can see, there's 3 enemies attacking him. He may or may not die right here. There are 3 enemies chasing him, and here comes me right now. I think I might actually save him right now. Wow, I see. And that is the benefit of playing a champion like Annie. She has extremely high burst damage output. Oh, I just grabbed a triple kill. Yeah, I'm OP. But I basically saved his life, so he's safe. It's probably quite tempting to me. And the enemy team just surrendered, so I guess now is a good time to ace. Oh, ace is when you kill everyone on the team before they respawn. So I guess that's the end of the game. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to comment, and I can try my best to answer. But thanks for watching. After you win, you just click continue and the game's over. Seriously, though, if you have any questions, leave a comment. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching.